Hello, my name is Jared Wheeler with 40 Technology. I'm here to give you a quick instruction on how to use the plot options, the plot settings, in the 40 InSpec software. So this is when you open the settings hamburger menu in the top left. This is the second one down. It looks like a bar graph. So you open it up. These are some of the basic settings to kind of set how you're viewing the data. It's the best way to look at it. So in the first one, we have the unit set up. So either English or metric units. So English, for most aviation people, this is what you'll be using. You can put in inches. You can, of course, you can do micro inches or mils too, if you're feeling so bold. You can also go to metric, say you're not in aviation. You have microns, nanometers, or millimeters. And then angular units, let's say you're using edge break or one of the angular kind of details. You can do degrees, all sorts of options, milliradians, microradians, minutes, seconds, whatever you need to do. You can also do number of significant figures. You can set those. So remember the noise floor of the systems, and a tenth of a thou or 2.5 microns. So keep in mind when you make the significant figures larger, measuring a tenth of a noise floor is not going to help you much. So you want to keep this realistic. So that's why the default is set at 3, typically. Scientific notation. Let's go to a better screen here. So you can see how it changes some of the numbers to scientific notation. Yeah, there we go. Volume, it did it. So 1766. If you need to, that's something you can do if you have for whatever reason you want to do scientific notation. Show axes. So let's go back over here. 2D plot. So I have show axes selected. If I unselect it, it takes away the length and width of the data set. So let's go put it back. The length and width here. Now show alignment crosshairs. That adds alignment crosshairs in the live video. This is particularly useful for automation. Let's say you're setting the part sequence and setting locations and measurements. This comes in handy quite a bunch. You can substitute it for kind of like a datum plane usage. To kind of, if you're trying to measure the same sample over and over again with some kind of correction being applied to the sample, you can use this to help position the InSpec. It comes in handy. Take that off. The next one is maximize profile. I have to crop this to demonstrate it. Let's go right here, crop it. So here, so take it off. Without maximize profile on, you can see the plot is this size. It's a little smaller because I cropped it. Now maximize profile, what that does is it widens the plot so it maximizes the viewing space so you can see it a little easier. Pretty straightforward. Typically people always leave that on. Maximize contrast. So this one, so right now when you make measurements, the colors on the right, the legend per se, the red is high, blue is low. It uses kind of like a normal routine to determine the heights. Now maximize contrast really accentuates that. So let's say you have something, a really small scratch or nick. So here, and there's actually, you can see some stuff. It's a little harder to see. Is that big? Is that small? You'd have to measure it to know for sure. But if you're trying to measure something really small and we're surrounded by something that's roughly the same size, what you can do is use maximum contrast, and that accentuates the colors, makes little tiny nicks pop up or blow up in your face. And show height scale. That's the legend on the right, the height scale. You can remove that or show it, whatever you need to do. And the final one is fixed height scale. And I'll have to demonstrate this, so you get a good sample. What I have here is blade off an AC unit. It has a lot of pitting on it, but it varies over the surface. So what I'm going to do is do a few measurements. A lot of pitting. So that one has a lot of pitting. This one has slightly less. This one has even less than that. Okay, bear with me for a second. Should view. Now, going between these data sets, you might know from when you start analyzing the data using whatever analysis you need to do, either contour screen, traces, or what have you, you'll be very clear what has deeper pits and what doesn't. Now, from the casual viewer, let's say you're presenting this data to your boss or a customer, whoever is buying your parts, it's very hard visually to tell which one has the deeper pits, which one has higher areas on it. So what you can do is actually fix the height scale. So instead of automatically selecting the height based off your sample, so everything's kind of maximized for the viewing, you can do is fix it. So fix height scale, and then auto min max. So that idealizes for the first data set, but then when I switch to other data sets, the height scaling won't change. So here, and then select this one, and it's a little less pitting, you can kind of see, and then the third one is a lot less. So this fixed height scale is really for presenting purposes. So those are the plot options for the 4D InSpec software. Please contact us with any questions, and thank you very much.